So students, now let us study about the chapter fractions. Write down in your copy the chapter name, fractions, chapter number, and the date. The three things required. Then what are the learning outcomes which we'll be going to have after going through this chapter? First is recognizing various kinds of fraction. As we will study, there are various types of fractions like fraction, unlike fraction, mixed fractions. You must have studied earlier also. Once again, we will revise them. Then how to add and subtract fractions. In the earlier classes, you must have done a little bit, but we will have more in a better understanding how to add and subtract the fractions. Then multiplying fractions by whole number. The whole number chapter you must have studied in the 6th standard. The same thing will be applied here, and they will now get multiplied. Multiplying fractions by a fraction. How we are going to multiply when the two fractions are been given. How to find the reciprocal of a fraction. And then using a fraction as an operator of. As we have studied in the bottom, as it comes B for bracket, O representing for of. So that of that represent for multiplication again. Then dividing fraction by a whole numbers. Then how to divide the two fractions by a fraction by a whole number. In the 8th part, dividing fractions by a fractions. When the two fractions are been given, then how we are supposed to divide them. Solving the word problems involving multiplication and division of fractions. Then word problems related with the fractions where the multiplication and divisions are being involved. So here we are more concerned about multiplication and division of fractions rather than addition and subtraction, because that you have done it in the earlier classes. Now in the introduction part, it says that the fraction is a part of the whole or a collection. It's never complete. It's always a fraction always represents as a part of the whole. That means if I say half of the part, that means out of the total I've taken only half. And we have also learned how to represent them on the number line. There are simplest form of fraction, proper, improper fraction, mixed fractions, and how to convert the mixed fraction into the improper fractions. Then ordering of the fraction, addition and subtraction of the fraction. In this chapter, we will revise these addition and subtraction, and we will also study about multiplication and division of fraction. That's a very important point here. And we will also use the multiplication in the word problems also, multiplication and divisions in the word problem. Now let us come to the types of fraction. In your classwork copy, you have to write down this heading, types of fractions. We have done it many times, but still we will revise once again. A proper fraction. You have to write down the heading proper fraction. The fraction in which the numerator is less than denominator is called a proper fraction. You only need to write the example here. Out of this one, if you don't like this anyone, you can change the examples, but make it sure the numerator should be smaller and the denominator should be a bigger number. That makes a proper fraction. Then we'll come to the improper fraction. In the improper fraction, a fraction in which the numerator is greater. It's just the reverse of the proper fraction, or equal to the denominator. Another important thing, equal to the denominator is called an improper fraction. Like they had given the first example itself, you have to write down this heading, improper fraction, and any three examples. It's not required, you have to take it from the book itself. You can take it from outside also, but make it sure whenever you write it from your, after understanding this definition, write it in a proper manner. So 6 by 6, it's a improper fraction. It is not a proper fraction. Why? Because the numerator and denominators are same. And normally the improper fraction, always the numerator is greater than denominator. Then we come to the mixed fraction. A mixed fraction is a mixture of whole numbers and the proper fraction. So what is it? It's a mixture, whole number and a proper fraction is called a mixed number or a mixed fraction. Like you can take the example, you have to write down this heading, mixed fraction, and any three examples you can write it. You can select it from here, or you can change it as per your choice. But make it sure this number should be a whole number and this should be a proper fraction. Then it is said to be a mixed fraction. Tips are being given here. A mixed fraction can be converted into the improper fraction and vice versa. So mixed fraction is related with always with improper fraction. Okay, now we come to the unit fraction. The proper fraction having 1 as a numerator. So it's called a unit fraction. You have to write down this heading, unit fractions, and then write down the any three examples where all the numerators are 1 here. They are said to be the unit fraction. Then we are coming to the like and unlike fraction. This is very important in the case of addition and subtraction. So this concept you need to understand if you want to add and subtract the fraction. The fraction with the same denominators are said to be the like fraction. You can write down this example. And for the unlike fractions, you keep the denominators different, then it is said to be the unlike fraction. Unlike fractions can be converted into the like fraction by taking LCM of their denominator. That's a very important point here, which we used to do it for the addition of the fractions.